Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this part of the R9T build, going to deal with everything engine. I previously did already change the oil on the engine because I had to check if there's any in there in the first place. Today, in this video, going to change the belt for the alternator, going to change the spark plugs, one here, one at the bottom, and also going to check and if necessary adjust the valves. That way at least I know that is all fine. I already mocked up the tank because I also have to install the battery relocation box. Goes down there, and I will also install the Rabbit Bike Evo onto the box. So I already have that done, and then I'm somewhat done with the back part of the bike, and then I can finally finish routing my wires. Have to still do a fix on the tank because previous person broke off this tab down there. Have to attach this back to the tank. Have to drill the holes here for the battery box. Of course, clean it a bit, and then I can clean up the back end here or the midsection now, and the bike will be good from here on back. And if you see this stuff in the back, that is obviously a bumper and some fender flares. That's for the X5. It's going to get an IS rear end conversion. Always something going on here. So I'm going to take things apart first. I don't want to move the oil cooler, and you don't really have to remove the press plate. At the bottom you have 3 T25s, and on top you have 2 T20s. It's hard to see, but they're there. Up here and on the other side, I figured you can get an extension of the T20 through here if you remove that connector from here. Just push this in, and then you can go through here and access this T20. This way I don't have to bother with the radiator. And now you don't see much, but you see a belt up here, and the belt is pretty clean actually. Doesn't seem to be too problematic. I'm going to replace it. I'm going to just cut this and then put a new one on. Not going to lie, this belt didn't look too bad, but since I already have a new one, I don't even bother and put on the new one right away. This is the new one. It looks more felty inside, still brand new. So you put it on, you go over the generator hoop first. And then you take a 33mm, make sure it's lined up on top, line it up at the bottom, and then you just turn the engine over. I just used the wrench, and it would hold and push the belt on. You don't even have to hold it. Just make sure it sits properly in the grooves, and that's all. And only always turn the engine clockwise. So that's pretty easy. I leave the cover off because I have to now adjust the valves. So first I'm going to pop off the cover here. You can pop it off in the bottom, something like underneath here where the cable is. You just pop it off from there, I guess. Somehow I figured out. You remove the ignition coil. Same on the bottom. My cover is already removed. Wasn't me, but it's been gone. Remove the bottom coil also. You can just put it out, and then you got all your spark plugs out. Then you remove these 2 bolts and your head cover comes off. So I just removed the plugs on the left cylinder. I just want to show you once again, everything is broken on this thing, and someone tried to glue this already together. Doesn't really work. So well, another part, the order. I'm going to show you on the other side, walking through. First I'm going to remove the bottom coil. I mean, the cable is not even plugged in here, so easy. Remove the plug here. And then you can just take the coil out. You can take the lower plug out also right away. This is I believe it's a 14mm. This one also is already broken and glued. Fantastic. You're supposed to just like put it back and then it comes out. But if everything is broken, what are you gonna do? Take your little fancy special tool. This goes in here, pull it out. There you go, don't drop it. If you don't have that or don't want to spend 10 bucks for that tool, you can use 2 screwdrivers. Of course, you have to protect your cover here and carefully wedge it out. This is one of the used one. You can see how it's been worn, really worn down. Same on this one. Maybe even worse. And this is what the new one looks like. Part number up there, if you care. And now I'll take my T40 and open the valve covers. So when adjusting the valves, first of all you want to make a little table just like this. There's just left cylinder, right cylinder. If you have 4, it's a little bit more complex. You used to do 6 and 8 cylinders, so that's pretty easy, pretty simple. You have, of course, the exhaust to intake. In this case, you have front is exhaust, top, bottom, and the rear is intake. Top is there, bottom is there. And you have, of course, your what it's supposed to be. The exhaust between 0.3 and 0.4 millimeter, intake between 0.13 and 0.23. And then you just go and you measure, and then you see if you have to adjust them or not. I'm pretty certain I will have to adjust these. I don't think they have ever been adjusted, but it's just a gut feel. Let's see what it actually is. So first you have to line these 2 marks on the cams so they point at each other. And then you start measuring. 0.4 fits, but it's pretty tight. That means I don't have to bother with the 0.3 because, just for the fun of it, obviously it's gonna be silky smooth. Just a holder, let's see if the next bigger one fits in for also 0.45. Yes, fits, so I have to adjust. No way around it. 50 doesn't fit, 48 doesn't fit, 46 fits, 47, I would say it doesn't, I would say that's a 46. It clears at the bottom. Take a note, and you do the same with the top and the intake. You write everything down, and then you have your current measurements, you cross check with what it's supposed to be, and then you know which ones you have to adjust. I finished measuring both sides, and that's what it looks like. Intakes are on the border, 0.23. That is fine, means I do not have to do anything on those yet. Of course, I could take it one step down, but I leave this for now. However, on the exhaust side, it's not that green. 1 is on the border and 3 are out of spec, so I have to remove those and all the new shims. Take a look what shims that are, and then all the new ones. Take the shims out, you have the C-clip. You take that off, you have to replace them, you cannot reuse the old ones. Then you take the rocker off, and you can, inside the rocker, there's the little shim. So let's take those off, and then we see what I have to order. So let's remove the C-clip or E-clip. The opening is supposed to point towards the cylinder head. Now the follower comes off, and inside the follower is your shim. Here's the shim, just a half ball. Take it out. The shim should have a dimension on there. You're of course better off taking a micrometer to measure it. I just don't have one. There's some writing on here. 5.35. Just to give you an example on the math, my gap on the top exhaust valve was 0.43. That's 0.3 outside of spec, and the shim is 5.35. So I just put 0.1 millimeter on top of it. Meaning I'm gonna order a shim 5.45, 0.1 more than what was in there, and that will reduce my gap by 0.1 from 0.43 to supposedly 0.33. And then I'm nice in spec again. Going to do the same for the bottom and for all valves that are out of spec, and then I can order the new shims. So yeah, that's the math part of it. I also decided to, adjust the one that is just scratching it, because the exhaust ones are actually fairly easy to adjust. The intake ones, I don't want to do this now, but next time I for sure will have to adjust them probably. Exhaust, I do them all. And luckily, other than that one that actually I could leave alone, I order all the same shims. I'm gonna order 5.45 for all the 3 that are out of spec, and a 5.35 for the one that's not that much out of spec. And you see, you just have 5.35 minus the 5.275 that's in there right now. You get a difference of 0.075, and you deduct it from here, so you come then to 0.325, and that is supposed to be the new gap, and the other ones are gonna be in the 0.33, 0.325. They're all gonna be the same, more on the lower end of it, because as you drive the bike, the shims will start to wear again, and the gap will only become bigger, never smaller. So I have some buffer on the exhaust side, and the intake side, it's for another day. Now just gonna order the shims and the clips. You have to replace them. And the covers, because they damaged anyway. I sent the valve covers out to get powder coated. And yeah, I'll be back in 2 weeks. I'm not here until then.
1 week later.
Little side quest here. Because everything that previous so-called mechanic touched broke, I also had to glue my tank. Not glue, this is Alumabond or Alum Bond. I used that because the tank on the Roadsters, or this is the first gen, are all aluminum, so you can't fiddle. Also there's gas in there, not welding it, and too much work. Don't want to use JB Weld, used Alum Bond. Actually nice and smooth. This takes forever to cure, so it's kept dipping, but I did get it back on. This is the clip on the left side that holds, of course, this plastic cover, and then your OBD clip. Of course it's broken away, like, why not? Why not just break a tank? If you go to the dealer, new tank. So I already received the new shims. That is the one that's a 35. Is it a 45? And the new clips. And also realized that if you look at the ones that have been in there, these are all, you know, 275, 325, 325. These three for sure are still original, because you can only order something like this, like a 5-point or even like a 4-point, but you can only order 2 digits and only ending in 0 or 5, like 35 or 40 or 45. You cannot order these in between sizes. So these are still original. This one might as well, because it's somewhat the same range as the other one, but you're supposed to adjust the valves every 6,000 miles. And if those still are original, so are these. I doubt that these have been checked at the last interval. It would be checking at 6,000, 12,000, 18,000, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48. The bike sits now at 50, 51. This should have shown before. For sure has not been checked and never been adjusted. Once you dig into it, you can tell a lot about the previous owner as to how much care they took of their properties. It didn't. Straight up didn't. You would have done that, you know, you would have seen it out of spec. You could leave this one alone, but you would have to adjust the other ones. And you should have adjusted those probably already at least in the 40s, not this late. So anyway, I'm gonna go and install the new ones. I put the old ones back in, because when we spin the engine through, you know, it's not just empty. Gonna take it out again, put the new shims in, oil it up a little bit here, and next week I'm gonna go hopefully get the powder coated covers, and then I can finish. I also already received the new covers, because the old ones have been broken. Because of course, once I have the shims in and everything checks out, I will also install new spark plugs already. And then the same on the other side, just measured and checked. I do fit a 0.33 barely in here. So it's supposed to be 32.5, so right there. I have to squeeze it in, that's gonna be fine. The bottom one fits 33, does not fit 35, so I'm right there where I wanna be. Right in the mid or the first third of the 30s. Valves are adjusted, the clips are in. Pay attention to adjust the E-clips so the opening shows towards the cylinder head, towards the inside pretty much. I have a feeling that once, you know, the engine is running, it's gonna start spinning anyway, but That's why this one is not aligned anymore. And you will see that, you will notice that. Anyway, that's it. I already installed spark plugs, top and bottom. Spark plugs will be tightened with 12 Newton meter. And once I get the cover on, I change the seals, the inner and the outer one. Put the cover on, have new screws, and the screws for the cover, they go in here, then of course, they will be tightened with 10 Newton meter. It's all pretty flimsy, because it's aluminum head. So in the meantime, got a cover back on. The two on top, of course, you have to go in through here, like a wobbly extension. Once they're in, don't forget to put your cable, cable management as a connector with this plug we pushed out, put it back in. On the bottom ones, first cleaned them, then added a little bit of thread lock to it. And that is it. Cleaned it up a bit, of course. Belt changed, valves adjusted, spark plugs changed.
3 weeks later.
So 3 weeks later now, and I finally got parts back from powder coating. These have been there forever, like 2 months at least, because they made a batch and it's just too small. Also, valve covers are back. Gonna install these first. I will replace the seal because mine was a little bit leaky. So we have the outer seal here and the inner seal here. Replace them, clean the surfaces, and you just tighten the screws with 10 Newton meter. And all these other parts I'm gonna install in the next video. In the next video I'm gonna put the bike together and I wanna start it up. But let's finish up first here. And lastly, you install the protective cover down here that covers and protects your lower or your secondary ignition coil. It's a T30, not much to it. That's it. And later on I'm still going to remove this hose and put a little mushroom here, a little filter, because of my airbox delete kit. Eventually I actually want to move this also further up, but I will need a longer hose for that because I do not want to let this sit here between the frame and the starter. There's not really enough space. I have to get a longer hose to relocate the filter to where I want it to be. And there you have it. Everything back together. Did the belt, spark plugs, adjusted valves, probably for the first time of this bike's life at apparently 54,000 miles, and got new valve cover, gaskets on there. Got the head covers coated, nice and black. getting ready to start it up. That's enough for this video. In the next video, going to slap the exhaust on, have to check if the connectors are still intact or if they are broken also, like so many things on this thing. Also will install the filters, clean up the wiring. I will slap the tank on, tank already ready. I also prepared already my battery relocation kit with the Rapid Bike Evo on there. I'm not gonna wire it up just yet because I want to start and adjust it without it first. Everything I want to put it together so it's together and at once, and then I see what's left over. Because as of right now, there's still a bunch of screws laying around, which I don't know where they go. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Hope it was helpful for you, or at least a little bit interesting and entertaining. And I'm gonna see you in the next video when I finally going to start it up. Of course, I have to add more parts first, go through the electronics and everything, but I really want to start it up. It's about time.